So it means it has begun.
Yeah, it began. We were in Cape Coast over the weekend. Lots of people. I mean, compared to last year, this year had record numbers. So many activities, so many musicians performing on stage. Lil Wayne was there.
I think I saw medical
Kofi
Local
Kinata,
Flake.
all of them. So, I mean, that's also an opportunity for the arts to establish themselves and also make some money. And so it was good. The Deba, I mean, there was a lot of rain, so part of it was a bit subdued. But all in all, it was a very good weekend.
Now, with all of these events you've mentioned, and I have here a lineup of activities in the tourism month
Of September.
How do you list all of these programs? Do they come to you, or do you have a team deployed to scout or look for all of these events?
This one, we just picked the events that we know of. I mean, so it wasn't unlike December in GH where we asked people to submit their events. This one, we just picked the ones that we know of. There are a few who, when they heard that September is tourism month, came up and said, look, I have this event. I want it to be part of it. Can you list it for us? But by and large, if you look at the festivals, we just put it out there because we already engaged with them. I mean, all the regions that we have, our regional directors engage with the traditional authorities on how we can organize these festivals in a more organized way. Sometimes when you go there, it's chaos. And so we've been engaged with them on how we can bring some professionalism to bear, how we can help enhance the cultural aspects of it to make sure that people who are traveling really get a feel of their culture. Sometimes when you go to some of these festivals, it becomes more like entertainment zones, so you don't really get to feel the cultural aspect of the festival. So that's what we were trying to dial up by working with the various traditional councils and authorities.
Speaking of cultural activities that are less displayed, what are you doing as the Ghana Tourism Authority to enhance it? Because it looks like, yes, it's all about the partying. We go there, revelers go there, have fun, drink, and, well, other stuff I cannot mention on the radio. And then we don't get to see the culture that is supposed to be the main or underlying activity there. What is your outfit doing to?
Okay, so I think it's a two-legged issue. You know, when it comes to the cultural bit, it's not promoted. The traditional councils assume that, it's festival, so people are going to come. But when it comes to the other things that you talk about, the revelers going and the entertainment bit, because it's mostly private sector driven and people have invested their monies in it, they go out to really push it. So when you hear of Fit to Afashe, the cultural bits, the things that happen at the water bodies, the things that happen with Asafu groups, meeting and doing those things, really are subdued. And then all you see is this guy is performing at Hatchland, this guy is performing here, this guy is... So what we've told the traditional councils to do is that we are going to work with them to really promote and also showcase the cultural bit. We started with Fit to Afashe this year. We tried as much as possible to dial up what they are doing, the cultural bit. But also some of these cultural items are things that are done not necessarily for public viewing. So, for example, if you take Bakatwe, where they do the rituals, sometimes they don't want that sort of fanfare around the rituals. They want it subdued because it's a solemn ceremony. It's a solemn ceremony where they are paying homage to the ancestors and all that. So they don't want it very loud. But we said, look, that's also our culture. That's the culture of the people. Let people understand why you're doing what you're doing. Because other than that, it becomes... For most people, they see it as idol worship. Because if they don't see, all they see is maybe goats and sheep being slaughtered. That's all they see. But if you explain the significance of what you are doing, what it means. For example, when people talk about Fit to Afashe, what does it mean? I mean, when you do the research, it feels like a thing to cleansing. So if you're cleansing, it all means that even when you talk about a fee, the sanitation in the city, the sanitation around the areas, all have to be cleaned up. And so let's try and make it significant. Let's make it relevant to the times. And that's what we've been trying to do with the traditional councils.
Now, with all of these events, how does one get to enlist his event? Is there an office they have to go? Is there a number you have to call?
As I indicated, for the tourism month, we started, I think, 3-4 years ago. So all we do is to list the festivals that we know, working with the regional directors that we have. But I think going forward, we are going to open it up just like we do with December in GH, where we say, okay, tourism month is in September. Bring your ideas, bring your events, and let's list them and let's promote it. So for this one, I think we haven't done that yet. We just scout, we look at the events that are in the horizon, the ones that are well known, and then we list them out. And then some of our partners also bring up their events. Like, for example, the GFA were doing the Champions of Champions in Cape Coast yesterday. So they said, okay, list it for us as part of your tourism month. Because when you talk about tourism, it's also about people going to watch games, sports tourism, and all those things are part of it. And so going forward, we are going to do open up for people to bring their events, and then we'll list them. But for December in GH, we open up, we get the events, we scrutinize them, make sure that it's relevant to the theme of the return, because we're doing a return agenda, and so it's not every event that you can put on the thing. It has to be relevant to the people that are coming, relevant to us, even as Ghanaians. How do we make sure that we are showcasing the best of Ghana?
I see. But what is your support to these events? Is it just listing them and that's it?
No. It's varied. I mean, for example, there have been events that we have had to even help with their goods and equipment coming in. You know, some of the events bring in import stuff, and then we've been the liaison between them and the GRA for temporal importation licenses, because sometimes when you're bringing goods in that have to go out, then you can benefit from that temporal importation so that you don't pay the duties. It comes in, we make sure that after the event it goes out. And so that is some level of support. Security, I mean, in times past we've worked with Ghana Police and some security companies to provide security for events. In times past we've worked with venue owners. I mean, for example, sometimes people want to use the stadium. We engage with the National Sports Authority, their LWAC, we engage with the military and all that. So we stand in. Then we put the marketing budget behind it. So what you see in terms of online banner ads, December and GA, driving people to different platforms, it's cost money, and we do that. In some cases, we sponsor some of the events, but it's on a case-by-case basis. I mean, sometimes we even buy some of these tickets so that the event organizers get, at least you get some foundation. So if you buy 100 tickets, 200 tickets, always try and help in that sense. But we don't have all the budget. If we had the budget, we probably could say, okay, everybody should come for some amount of money and do the event, because we believe that these events are driving economic activity, a lot of economic activity that, I mean, sometimes we don't talk about. If you look at a typical event, the event vendors benefit, the security around the area, the people who are coming to sell around, the vendors, the kinky sellers, the egg sellers, the water sellers, everybody. And then you talk about the artists, the performers, I mean, musicians, you talk about the MCs, the DJs, like yourself, and everybody who comes out there to perform. I mean, it's more or less providing the platform for everybody to benefit from the economics of this event. So yes, we've engaged with the Ministry of Finance. In times past, they've been very supportive in saying, okay, we'll give you a little budget to support this activity. But I know that going forward, once this thing is established, and we've done it for 4 years, and so far we know the numbers are trending high. It's going up and up. I mean, this year, for example, on our first opening, we had about 122 events apply.
Wow.
And we've endorsed 98 already. And the second window ended over the weekend. And so we are going to add on more events. And so what can we do to support? I mean, events that are happening in some of the remotest parts of Ghana, we are trying to get them to bring their events so that we endorse, so that when people come to Ghana, they don't just stay in Accra, they can go as far as Sehui and other places to really be part of the December and GH. So yes, we don't have all the budget, but we've been very supportive, I mean, both in cash and in kind.
Speaking of budget, where does the funding come from? I mean, when you were speaking earlier, you mentioned Ministry of Finance.
It's a combination. I mean, we have we have a tourism development fund, and part of the uses per what the act says is for marketing. And so for 20% of the fund is devoted to marketing. And these are some of the things that we do. So for example, this weekend we are in Nigeria. There's a festival, Akwaba Tourism Festival, that happens in Nigeria every year. We are part of it, so we'll pay for the space, but we go with the private sector. Mm-hmm. We know Nigeria is a big market for us. So when we go there, we are selling the December NGH to Nigeria in a big way. So when the people come, I mean, definitely they stay in the hotels, they rent cars, they stay, some even rent private homes. It brings in economic activity. So the funding comes from the fund. Then we also make appeals to the Ministry of Finance, because normally our budgets do not take care of it, but on a case-by-case basis, we can make an appeal, and then sometimes we get some support. And then also from our own internally generated funds, we have some marketing support that we provide to the industry.
What has been the most challenging
in this work, or in life?
Yeah, no, not in life. But you life the end is that we will end.
But I think the challenge, I wouldn't talk as the most challenging, because every issue has its own ways to deal with it. I mean, for me, budget has been the most challenging bit, because if you compare what other countries are doing, sometimes last week, for example, I get a lot of friends sending me Rwanda have signed with Bayern Munich a deal, and then they say, oh, why can't Ghana do this? Rwanda is on the sleeve of Arsenal, and then everybody's sending to visit Rwanda. Why can't Ghana be there? We don't have that budget, so we struggle with the budget. I mean, for example, the year of return, I mean, when people look at the year of return and what we achieved, they said, oh, you got a big budget. We said we did this with about $1 million. So if nobody believes that, when we tell, I mean, we go to conferences and South Africa will come, hey, Ghana, how did you guys do this? What budget did you use? We said we spent about $1 million. They said, how? How can you spend $1 million and do this? So what we do is to try and stretch ourselves.
What are they trying to say? Is it too much or
too low? Too low. If somebody is paying £10 million to be on a sleeve of, and you are spending $1 million to have a global campaign, I mean, how much will it cost you to be on some of the platforms that you are supposed to be on? But what we do is try and leverage our partnerships, leverage our relationships, leverage our, what we know to do. How can we stretch our marketing budget? So we don't have the budget. So budget has been one of the biggest challenges. Number two is also the fact that in times past, I think tourism, I mean, last week I was on a program, and then so let's go to the entertainment segment. We have with us here the CEO of Ghana. I said, we are not here for entertainment. I'm here to talk business. Tourism is business. Yes, entertainment is also business, but let's change that mindset, because in times past, I don't think successive governments have paid enough attention to tourism. If you look at what we have, I mean, and the waterfalls that we have, the leisure things that we have done, the events that we can put on display, our cultural festivals, so many things that we have. The fact that Ghana has about 75% of all the slave forts and castles. If we were to put the same amount of budget, if you pick the national budget, and I always do the comparison, and Minister of Finance will go say very nice things, very good English, but then when you drill down to the numbers, you see that all the other sectors, education, billions of cedis, energy, billions of cities, health, billions of cities. When it comes to tourism, sports, yeah. But when it comes to tourism, it's like the forgotten child. We get, but I think this particular government has done well. I mean, the fact that if you look at the support we've gotten from the Ministry of Finance, the fact that for the first time in our history, we got about a project, the Ghana Tourism Development Project, which was a $40 million dollar project, which has been utilized. Some of the legacies of that is what we see with the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, a few more things that are happening within the industry. I think it's progress, but I believe that we need to move faster. We need to move quicker. We need to really pay attention to tourism, because it can create the jobs. It can create the economic activity that we need to drive our growth. If you take a typical hotel versus a factory. A factory, workers will come 8 o'clock, by 5 p.m. they're closed. But a hotel is a 24-hour operation. So if you have 50 people working in a factory, in a hotel you have about 150, because they will run 3 shifts, 8 hour, 8 hour, 8 hour. So let's try and focus more on that. Let's try and give the incentives that we need to give to our operators. People want to build hotels. The last time I saw a news item, people questioning the fact that hotelier has been given tax exemptions. And I said, okay, wait a minute. If it was a factory, nobody would say anything. But the fact that somebody is going to build a hotel and be giving tax exemptions, even our parliamentarians sometimes do not understand how these hotels are turning around so many things. Because if you go to a hotel, breakfast time, what do we serve? If we had a good platform, you know that you have
something on the menu,
cocoa, coffee, whatever. That's economic activities. The farmers, the food that we serve, the rice, the jollof, and all those things, it's coming from our farmers, our traders, and other things. Then you have the sheets. So, for example, the bed sheets and all those things, if we made them locally, that is employment generation. If you go to the entertainment bit where they are having events, there where you have the musicians coming to perform. So it's the whole 9 yards tends to benefit from these hotels. So let's change our mindset. I think if we can all help change the mindset of the lawmakers, so that they know that when people are asking for tax exemptions to build hotels, it's not waste. It's not just frivolous. It's something that is really, really benefiting us as a country, and also helping us to sell. I mean, now we are approaching December, and part of the calls that I get almost every day is all the hotels are full. Last week, somebody sent me a screenshot of a hotel. The one night is 1,260 something in Accra dollars, because December is full. The hotels are hiking up their rates. So we need more hotels. How can we get them? We need to provide incentives. We need to make sure that people who have the wherewithal understand that when you are making investment decisions, think of tourism, think of travel, think of the space that we are in, the hospitality industry, because there too you can make very, very good returns.
You know, with what you just mentioned about December fast approaching and hoteliers hiking or increasing their prices, one major area that a lot of people are concerned that have come up is customer service. It's worrying, and a lot of people complain, I went to this hotel. I mean, I've had people or friends that came in, I remember last December, and they complained bitterly, they went to this restaurant and then and their customer service. Are there measures to ensure that we have all of these things in good place?
Okay, so we've started some bit of training, but we haven't gone far enough, I must admit. Why? Because, like I indicated, if you look at our industry, where do you go for training to be a hotelier or a housekeeper or a front desk? So most of the people, not all, who have gone into this space have gone because maybe they are waiting to go to university, or they didn't get good grades and they are waiting, people don't take this as a career. Because we don't have the institutions that train.
Some are even desperate looking for jobs.
But then they say, okay, come. I mean, this weekend when I went to Cape Coast, I stayed in a hotel, and it was funny because the guy came, we brought the menu, and I said, okay, tell us what is quickest on the menu, because we don't have time. We want something quick to eat. And he said, okay, let me go and ask the chef and come back. He rushed in, came back, and said, everything is
available.
Everything is available. You can do it quickly. The first thing we ordered, he went and came back and said,
yes.
So at that point, I said, okay, Charlie, take your time. Go back and find out what is on the menu. And then he came back and said, he mentioned only about 3 of the items that we could get quickly. But believe you me, we had to wait for about an hour. Even what they said was quick. Then I said, look, what you guys said, we told you. He said, no, but everything is cooked fresh, so they had to start from scratch. I said, why didn't you tell us? So customer service is an issue. We understand that. But one of the things that we are trying to do is to have these quick training programs that we do. But what we see is that by the time we go back, sometimes we organize these training programs across the region under the Ghana Cares program, under the Ministry of Finance. We've trained about 3,000 people, customer service and other things. You go back and they've moved on. You go to the hotelier and say, oh, the person left, or they've gone now.
They found a better job.
They found a better job.
Okay.
So we keep on doing, but these are mostly short courses. That does not really delve deep into the thing. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to, working under the ministry, is to have this hospitality training institute properly established, and it's part of the things that we've been working on under the ministry, so that if we have an institute that trains from A to Z, yes, people go to university to do hospitality, but these are mostly degree programs. We are talking about the shop floor, the people, the cleaners, the waiters, the people who are doing what we call the menial jobs in the hotel. Nobody trains them, and so they come with all the bad habits that they have. I've gone to a hotel when people will tell you, "Oh, this guy came to sleep here the last time." I said, "Why do you have to divulge that information to somebody?" You understand? But they think that they are telling you that this guy slept here because it gives them some what do you call it? Credibility. Yeah, that, oh yes, even a hotel and the dusty came to sleep here. So they'll go and tell you, so
how do I come to a movie house?
Yes.
I go to a movie house. Then I reach there, then they start giving me fans.
Andy.
Like, yo, boss, I'm coming to look for Mr. Agyeman. I said, oh, Mr. Agyeman is not here. Okay, thank you very much. I have to find a way to make my exit.
Yeah, it happens. So it's an area of concern, but we have the plan to do the hospitality training school. But in the interim, what we are doing is to do the short courses. Even now, next week we are starting French training for front desk executives.
Oh, wow.
Because we realize that a lot of our francophone people are coming. Cote d'Ivoire, the numbers are going up. But at least if you get to the hotel and somebody can respond to your bonjour, at least it makes you feel at home.
Right.
So basic French is something that we are doing. That's a 6 months course for 2 people per hotel. We are starting with a star-rated hotel. That is 3 on that market, 3 to 5 star. So we are making these interventions, but we believe that to uproot that canker, we need a school.
Wow. Listeners, in case you just tuned in, you're listening to Hitz 103.9 FM. It's Daybreak Hitz. In the studio with me, CEO of the Ghana Tourist Authority, Mr. Akwasi Agyeman. Keep your comments coming in and I'll read them on air. Send all your questions and the gentleman will answer. First one, at 95 Volunteer says, Andy, please ask Mr. Agyeman, why didn't they start with the Ghana Homowo as a launch to the tourism month, since Greater Accra is the headquarters of tourism?
I think it's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, I think in our planning, we assumed that Homowo would have ended by end of August, honestly. So when I realized that even last weekend was the climax of Homowo I knew. I mean, we slip sometimes. So you should forgive us. Next time, Homowo will start.
Hey. We are doing. You are doing. Why?
No, because you see,
that's quite a diplomatic answer, though.
Yeah. Because it's Agyeman for you.
it's not diplomatic. What I'm saying is that we didn't ask people to submit these events. We just picked events that are happening in September. Typically, if you ask anybody when Homowo is, because Homowo is August, but then some Homowo, because it's different communities, it ends in September sometimes, and so we could have added maybe the one that ended over the weekend was, is it Teshi?
Teshi, yes.
Yes. So we could have added the Teshi Homowo, but we assumed that because Homowo was in August, we were talking about the tourism month. It wasn't there. It's an oversight.
I see. Okay, now let's look at December in GH. One big concern, and I've already spoken to your boy Kofi Kakra,
yeah,
about the site that directs or show you hotels, restaurants. What is happening to that site? It looks like it's not functional.
The Visit Ghana?
Yes.
Oh, really? It's functional.
Is it?
Yeah.
If it is it updated? Because the last time I checked,
you didn't have your hotel in there.
I wasn't. So I even called him and I asked him. He said, "Oh, yeah, they are working on it. They are working on it." I said, "Okay, cool."
Okay. All right. So it's feedback I will take, but I think we even have an app, the Visit Ghana app as well, that has all these sites and hotels listed. So if there are issues with it, you're telling me, I'll pick it up.
How does one get listed on that site? Because it looks like it's not. There are lots of hotels that are not up there.
Okay, so what we have done is to give access to the hoteliers. I mean, to
upload it.
Upload.
Okay.
Because we don't know what their offerings are, and we cannot. I mean, there are about 5,000 something hotels in the country. We cannot be updating all their sites for them. So what we've done is to give them access. Like they have access to bookings.com, hotels.com. They go in there and do their own things and price and other things. So what we've told them is that go in there and do. What we haven't done well, though, is marketing that platform so that they see it as their first point of call. A lot of them, if you go to what they have listed on bookings.com versus what is on the Visit Ghana app, it doesn't match. Because the bookings.com, I mean, if you are sending your email or you are browsing you see it pops up. So they have put some budget behind it, and that's what we are going to do. But I think it's still good enough. I mean, a lot of the hotels that ordinarily you wouldn't see, the ones in my hometown in Dunkwao and other things that don't have websites, at least we have given them a platform to showcase what they have. But we have to improve upon it.
Now let's look at December in GH properly. So yeah, the calendar was released, was it last week or last 2 weeks? I think
last 2 weeks.
That was last 2 weeks, yes. And yep, December in Ghana, Beyond the Return, starting November 3rd until
January something.
Yeah. Too many events. Again, is it going to be like September?
No, so the difference this time is that we wouldn't list your event if you haven't told us to list it. So these are events that we ask, do you want us to list it as part of the December in GH? Because we have partner institutions that we work with, both in Ghana and also outside. And so once we send them the calendar, they also blast to their database. So for example, the NAACP, which is the largest black civil rights organization, it's a partner organization. So once we send them the calendar, they will send it to their members, about 2 million members. And so we don't want to carry an event that we are not sure whether it's going to happen. We are not sure how it's going to be organized. We are not sure whether it will live up to expectation. I mean, there are some events that have written to us. I mean, we had 122. We endorsed only about 98. Why? Because the other 24 or so, we realized that there were issues. Either the person who is organizing it has not given us the convincing answers in the form that they have the wherewithal to organize the event, whether they have the funding and other things. Because we always tell you, we don't provide the funding. We can come in and support if need be, but we don't provide the funding to the point where you are sitting there dreaming of an event and you think that the tourism authority is the one that has to pay for it. No, you have to have your own financial plan. You have to have your own security plan. But when push comes to shove, like I indicate, there have been instances where some event organizers have had serious issues with national security, for example, that, hey, this event cannot happen where you want to have it. We have had to go in and intervene. That is not cash. It's an in-kind support, but that sort of support really is what makes the event happen. There have been instances where we had to appeal to assemblies for roadblocks. I mean, people say, no, you cannot block this road. We have gone in, we have appealed that, look, this is part of the national agenda of pushing tourism. And so on your own, if you go, you will not be given that permission to organize the event at the place that you want to. There have been instances where we've had to provide security. Last year, for example, we had to work with the Ministries Police, and they did a very wonderful job with providing security for a lot of the events, because the event organizers maybe will go to an event security company and hire 4 or 5 security men to come and assist. To a scale where you have maybe 5,000 people come to an event, 3,000, that 5 people cannot hold it. And we have had to pay for security support to make sure that it's incident free. I mean, by and large, if you look at the numbers that come to Ghana in December and the numbers that go to this event, we haven't had major issues. I mean, there was one time where there was an accident at an event and we had to come in and, send the person to hospital, make sure. So we do a lot of backroom stuff that we don't necessarily come out to talk about. But for us, we are the facilitators. We don't do, apart from the Taste of Ghana, which is an event ourselves and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and GEPA organize. All the other events are private sector events, and we support them.
Let me shift away from the December in Ghana events. I'll come back to it anyway. But over the weekend, Slim was with me on Adum TV, and we were having a discussion, and something came up. It just came back to my mind, and I have to ask this before I forget. I mean, this is a question I must rather direct to the ministry. Okay. However, you're here, and I would want to seek your opinion on it. About musicians that are hoisting our flag higher, traveling outside, performing on bigger stages. Have you engaged them? Is there a way you can motivate them? Because, well, they are ambassadors of Ghana. Everywhere they go, they carry our flag so high. Some of them, I'm sure they've never been told when you go talk about Ghana or invite people to come back home, yet they go and they do great stuff. They do some of your work. Is there a way? Have you ever engaged any of them? Or is there anything of the sort in the pipeline?
All right. So I think it's a two-way street. I mean, sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't know even some of these people are going to perform anywhere. Only you see them.
The aftermath.
But where we've had prior knowledge, we've engaged a lot of them. Some of them we have even taken to some of our platforms that we've offered. I remember when we were doing the World Cup, we were going to do a Ghana village anyway. So we engaged.
There.
Yes, we engaged a lot of musicians on how they can perform. We even did a schedule and all that. But at the last minute, the partner that we were working with in Qatar, the venue that they wanted to do, FIFA would not allow them. FIFA would not allow them because it was too close to the FIFA.
The kickoff itself?
No, the FIFA Fan Fest.
Okay.
There was a FIFA Fan Fest, and we were going to do. Actually, it was a broader African village, and Ghana had its own village in there, so it was called off. But then when we went there, I mean, we said, look, if that's the case, can we get some of our people to perform at the FIFA Fan Fest to showcase Ghana? They said, yes, if you can bring them, but we don't have the budget to bring them. So, for example, Stoneboy, we took Stoneboy to Qatar to perform on that platform, and he really did something great for us. We've worked with Samini in the past to perform on some stages, so we do it on a case-by-case basis. We engage them. Some of them have done songs for us that we have used on various platforms, and so it's something that is worth considering. I mean, if you look at under the Creative Arts Council, then your own my boss now, Honorable Marco Krekumante,
right.
Yeah, what he did with Vis-a-Vis, sending people to Spain and all that, Chichiku and all those people were there, and a lot of musicians got that platform through the Creative Arts Agency now to perform outside. But I think it's the reason why I said it's a two-way street is that a lot of them also need to find a way to engage, especially with the Creative Arts Agency and the ministry, so that we know. I mean, sometimes you are there. I mean, it's not everything that Andy we can talk on radio, but even visa facilitation, the number of times we've had to jump in. Some of the big boys that they go to embassies and they refuse visas, and then we have had to come in. I mean, to say, look, this person is going on a platform that is big. We know him. We've had to come and guarantee that they will come back and all that. Big boys who are performing here. So, if we knew before, for example, that we were going to make that application for a visa, maybe a letter could be attached from the ministry to assist. Instead of you go, you are bounced, and then you rush to the ministry, and then we have to go in and make interventions. So it's a two-way street, but I think we have to deepen the collaboration that we have. I mean, it shouldn't be. Sometimes it's like we and them. We are all in the same boat. All the things that we are doing. December, I mean, I get a list of people who are performing. And sometimes there are artists who are doing like 20 shows in the month of December. Nobody will bring us part of their money. They take it. You understand? So it's a win-win for us. For us, we are happy that everybody is performing. The DJs. I mean, yes. Last week, for example, I was sent a list of DJs. There's a group of people who want to do a carnival, and they've listed DJs on there.
Nice.
And I was surprised. I mean, I haven't heard this name before. I haven't heard this name. But these people are all going to be paid, and then they perform. So we are just providing the platform for them. And so they should also see in us as collaborators and partners. I mean, there have been times, Chicago Fest, you go somewhere, last year, our minister was in Chicago for the Ghana Fest, and they really, really asked him whether he could facilitate some Ghanaian musicians to come. He said yes, but then they will ask who. Sometimes you don't even know who to to choose because you have all these people, but there's not been that sort of partnership engagement. When we had, there have been a few times. I mean, for example, I'll talk of Samini. We went to Barbados because he's done some work for us with the Beyond the Return, the theme song that we are using. It was done by Samini and Lead Pipe, who is a Barbadian musician, artist. We said, okay, we can bring him for their festival. I think they had issues. That was supposed to happen in August, and he was also in Ohio doing some performance, so it couldn't happen. But at least they know that if they have to showcase somebody, that is him, because he has a collaboration with somebody from Barbados. So we can do better than we are doing, but it's not like we are not doing it at all.
But when some of these musicians, when you give them all of these, with all these facilitations, yet you are not acknowledged.
That is the sad part of our culture. I mean, I'm not saying come and sing praises, but there are people that sometimes I hear on radio talking about we have the ministry has not helped us. And I know that this guy, I know how he got his visa. And sometimes you are tempted to call into the program and say, hey, whoa. But for God and country, you take it on your chin, because I mean, it shouldn't be like that. Let's build the relationships. There are some of these things. I remember we went with Asamoah to Dubai when they were doing the World Expo last year, and that was the day the president was coming. So it was a Ghana day. The day they were showcasing Ghana.
Right.
I'm telling you, the president came, went in the big boys, the royal people came. The place was quiet. Yes, there were some few acknowledgements. But when Asamoah entered the place, it was
shut down.
The place shut down. It was chaotic. People were following him. People were
taking
even security people. It was chaotic. So we value what people like the celebrities bring to the table. We value what they can give us. I mean, there was in February, there was an event, the Black History Month in Ohio, where we were there, and some of the musicians that came. I mean, when you go and stand there and you are giving your speeches, nobody wants to listen to that one. No. Everybody's there to see the musicians. They want to see Stoneboy, they want to see Sax, they want to see all those people. So we have to find ways that we can all work. It should be a win-win. But let's also acknowledge that within, they say to whom much is given, much is expected. The little that we give, they should also acknowledge us. I mean, sometimes some of these events that they do, what we do is we go in there, we buy tickets and give it out to all our partners so that people can go and see, so that they also have some, because when you're doing an event, normally your first 50 tickets is the most difficult sell. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we go in there, we buy 100 tickets, we buy 50 tickets, we buy 200 tickets, just to do giveaways, just to make sure that they don't incur losses. It's not something that we want them to come on radio and talk about, but at least when these things are, there are people that you know that really we have pushed, we have supported, but once they get a mic, they forget about what we are doing.
Well, Citizen Check in Sempi, where it says information reaching us is that the events they are supporting or endorsing for this year's Beyond the Return is just their brand and logo on the events, as per the emails they sent to the event organizers. Please ask him to confirm if it's true or not.
All right. So, like I indicated, we don't know how much how much value people place on our logo, but you can't just put anybody's logo on your thing. For it to be an official December NGH activity, we put your logo on. You can't just come and take our logo and put on your event. So that logo comes with something. It comes with we saying that the state is endorsing your program. The state is saying that because we are an agency of state, is saying that this program is worth attending. The state is saying that this program will happen. And so there have been instances where people come up and the last minute they say we cannot do the event. We say no way, you have to do it. They will tell you that I have problems with my sound. The guy who is giving me the sound, we say okay, how much is it? Let's sit down and talk and find a way. So we've had to sometimes bring in vendors to even work for some of these event organizers. But before you come in, we can't say that everybody bring your event and then we'll pay for it. That's not how public money is used. On a case-by-case basis. So generally, the letter that you get will tell you that, yes, we have given you permission to organize the event and use our logo, but we are not a funding agency. So that one is clear. We are not a funding agency for events. What we do is to let people have the confidence that this event is happening. I must tell you, last December, for example, I traveled to I went to my hometown, but on my way, I stopped in Cape Coast, I stopped in Takwa, I drove around. And everywhere I went, you have this thing, December NGH jams, December NGH. And these are events that we haven't heard anything about.
Right.
Okay, so somebody goes there. But to the credit of these people, they were not putting Ghana Tourism Authority, our logos on it. But it was happening. So if somebody goes there and something untoward happens, they'll point out their fingers at us.
Okay.
Like I told you, in the year of return, I went to La Palm, one of the big events that we had endorsed. They were having the event at the beach side.
Right.
And then the stage fell off and hit somebody in the head.
Wow.
When I got there, it had just happened. They said the guy was dead.
Hey.
I said, really? Because then things started. I said, what? How can somebody do? Because now they were going to say that a year of return, we have killed somebody. I went straight to 37. The guy was not dead.
Okay.
So I said, wow. So I had to call the Director General of Ghana Health Service, called everybody I could call.
What's of importance?
This is a life and death situation, and so the doctors, the surgeons and things, everybody rushed in there to fix the guy's head. First time I've seen brain. Have you seen brain before? First time
I've seen a picture.
Yes, the first time I've seen it. Yes,
I've seen a picture.
No, this one live. And
it was cut open.
The head was
wow.
Yeah.
Oy.
And then they said, look, we need so much blood, so we have to call. This was a holiday period. People have chilled, so the blood cry, you won't get proper blood because the sort of things.
They don't draw body blood.
The sort of things in people's blood at that time. So we have to. And we can talk about this and laugh now, but this was life and death matter. So we had to organize a blood donation in around the 1st of January.
Eish.
And get enough blood for them to perform the surgeries that they had to perform to save the guy's life. This is not something that the event organizer has talked about. I won't mention the name, but I'm telling you that you can't. How much cash would that be? You understand? We had to pay for the bills and everything, but it's not how much money you paid. The fact that we could save the person's life and he's still alive, for me, is something that gladdens my heart. That look, somebody could have died. And so when we put our logos behind these things, it's not just just logo, because we make sure. There have been times that agencies, people have gone to. I mean, when Afro Nation came, the first Afro Nation, the number of court cases, the number of injunctions that people placed on the event. We had to go in there. We had to go in there and negotiate with lawyers, negotiate with people. Look, these things have to happen. There have been times that the assemblies will say, no way. Even Afrochella, you can talk to Kenny and he'll tell you. Times when the assemblies will say, look, you cannot block the road. And we've gone in and all that. So these are things that we do to make sure that the events happen. And when it happens, we also ensure that there is enough provision of security working with the Ghana Police Service. I mean, to the credit of the Ghana Police Service, they've always been part of the subcommittee that we worked with. I mean, in times past, it was Dr. Gariba, who is now the regional police commander. So it gladdens my heart because I know that this year, with him here, Accra is safe. We'll look at the other regions, work with the various regional police commanders to make sure that all the events that are happening and they happen safely.
Right. Speaking of Afro Nation, all of a sudden the place is quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to happen?
Okay. Let me put matters in context because context is always important. Like I've indicated, we don't organize these events. We partner their events.
But are you assured?
So let me bring it to the level. So for example, in 2019, Afro Nation happened. After that, we signed an MOU with them that we wanted to have this event happening here for the next 5 years. 2020 didn't happen.
Although the contract was signed.
Yeah, it was an MOU. So we said, okay, we moved from an MOU. The 2020 Afro Nation didn't happen here, but Afrochella happened even when in the pandemic because we had just opened up around September. So we said, come, everybody should come. It was only Afrochella which happened. We did it at the stadium that year. Yes. So 2021 it didn't happen. You understand? Afro Nation came back only in 2022. But when nobody talked about it. But last year they came back and it was so for 2 years out of the 5, the 3 years, it didn't happen. Last year it came, it was good, but there were issues. There were issues. One, Afro Nation supposed to be beachfront, supposedly, festival. And so getting an event venue itself was a challenge. Where were they going to have this? Because La Boma, where they had it the year before, remember the previous year, they had issues with ownership because there are 3 or 4 people who came and said the land was for them and some went to court and all that. So that was off the table. We looked at options of La Pleasure Beach, but if you have a Pleasure Beach which is almost 90% occupied by tenants, it was going to be a difficult sell because how do you deal with the tenants there? So eventually we went scouting with them and then they found the Marine Drive area. And they said, okay, they will make do with it. Fast forward, when the event happened, a lot of issues. Because the Marine Drive area is not an enclosed area, I mean, it stretches all the way from Mensa, Guinea, coming all the way, Haas Park. So everybody could come in from there. So for me, trying to block off that place became a bit of a challenge for them. At some point in time, the event almost was overrun by people because the numbers, so they had to shut it down, you remember. And so immediately after that, we engaged. They said they were going to come. We opened up the first window in May for all the event organizers. Everybody brought their event back. Afrochella, now Afrofuture, Little Havana, Dirty Rave, all the big events applied. Afro Nation was not there. So I personally reached out to them that, hey, why have you? They said they will come. So we should just hold on. They are just checking their few things. Then I saw a news item that Afro Nation was going to
Nigeria.
And so I reached out to them. They said, no, it should not be a matter of concern. Okay, so we've opened the second window, which closed out over the weekend, the 1st of September. So that was Friday. I'm yet to see whether they've applied. But to the best of my knowledge, if it doesn't happen, it's not a train wreck. It's not the end of the world. We will go on with December in GH because we have enough events that are attracting people coming to Ghana. And people are coming to Ghana, not just, these events are one of the reasons, but it's not the only reason. There are so many other things why people come to Ghana for December. The fact that you could stay on, have so many other activities is important. So, yes, we still have engagements with Afro Nation. If it doesn't happen, as I said, we are not the organizers of Afro Nation, but we have kept a very open conversation with them on how we want the event to happen. If it doesn't happen, it has happened in the past that twice in a row it didn't happen. It didn't come. So should not be a big deal.
But isn't it a matter of concern?
It's a matter of concern if any of the events. So, for example, all the event organizers, and I must say this on air, almost all of them have had one issue or the other. If you talk to Afrochella, now Afrofuture, they've had a lot of issues. It's sometimes they tell you they have to print even tickets from outside because they've tried to print tickets in Ghana, and then they realize that people have duplicated.
Yeah, Ken said it when he came here.
He said it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So why should that happen? You understand? So we are not the ones that are stopping these events. We should all, as an industry, be concerned that somebody will go and print their ticket in a print house, and then the next moment he printed 1,000, and the next moment 2,000 tickets have been sold. So the next time they go and bring these tickets from China, from Dubai, and we cry about foreign exchange. So we need to be concerned. I mean, when we have had issues, we've gone to the Ministry of Local Government. I've gone to see Honorable Obi Amwa, Honorable Dambuche, that look, the assemblies must help, because sometimes these events are happening and people come, the vendor management and all those things that happen. You see that the assemblies will come in there trying to stop the event organizers and all that. It must not happen. So we are concerned that one event will fall off. We wish that we can get more. But as one goes off, many more come. Last year, we had 113 events. This year, on the first window, we already have 98. The second window that has been opened, I know we are going to get more. So if we are having 130, 140 events happening between November and January, why should I be so concerned about one event?
Well, there are too many questions I want to ask you. Unfortunately, time won't permit us. But
okay, do extended.
So they've given us an extension of 10 minutes.
Today I'm here for you.
Yes.
Andy,
today it will rain. Too many questions for you. Citizen Chakoti, I think I read that one. Well, it says, okay, Mula Asari says, Senior DJ, good morning. Please, is it going to be extended this time to other regions like Kumasi or Takoradi, or still same old December in Accra? Mula Asari from Kumasi. Citizen Check comes back to say, how easy is it? I'm trying to bundle all of them.
It's good.
It says, how easy is it to get with the Creative Arts Agency, and what are the requirements? Are you supposed to be just a musician or a poet? A painter and curator could also do and get equal recognition and treatment, because some of these festivals, both local and international, goes beyond music, at least for the international festivals. Christian Danso says, hello Andy, good morning. Please, I have a registered expedition company and I'm organizing an expedition to Amejofe this December. How can I get the tourism logo or be on their platform?
Just like that.
Osai David says, wow, I love this man. Very outspoken and hit the nail straight. Boss, do you mind engaging our celebrities in a conference talk in regards to how to make things possible so that the ministry can work with all of them? That's number one. Number two, it says, talking about the Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, I'm a bit disappointed in the ministry. Till now, not even a documented video on their pages, no photos. I think it's about time they fix all things and give us access to all the information needed on their news portals, etc. But Mr. Dusty, they are only focused on the secular musicians. We play for the gospel musicians too. Why? They should engage them too. I must say, David, the ministries, celebrities, besties PA. These are, I think this will do for now. Then I'll take the rest later. After.
Okay, I think, I don't know where to start, but the one with the expedition, I think he can reach us. On our Visit Ghana page, there is a telephone number there. He can send a WhatsApp and then somebody will engage with him. It's a good thing. If we could also send an email, info@visitghana.com. We could engage with him on how some of these expeditions can be added on to the calendar. I mean, in terms of the Kwame Nkrumah Park, his feedback I'll take. We will go and work. There is a director there, Mr. Kwao. From here, I'll call him there for him to look at it and see how we can improve. The Creative Arts Agency is an agency. Their office is at Kawukudi, near the Bureau of Ghana Languages. So in the same premises, so you can get them there. I don't have their numbers of it, but I believe that online you can get access to them. They are not just for musicians. Everybody within the arts, the creative space can engage. I mean, it's a new agency, so obviously, budget is a bit tight, but I believe that they are doing a good job in trying to first do proper stakeholder engagement and proper mapping of who is a creative actor.
Then he also mentioned the gospel musicians.
That one, I think, the last time I was talking to some of the gospel musicians, when we are pleading because we need that, apart from Joyful Way, who come up with their events, and it's always been on the December and GH. Almost all of them, they shy away when we say December and GH. I don't know whether it's a mindset that December and GH, we have a full program. Because
the other time, Empress Gifty was here and she was also complaining.
Yeah, so please, let's make an appeal to them. If there's anybody who is doing, the last one we had, there was somebody did Jesus in the Park. When it came, it didn't take 5 minutes, we endorsed it. Because we realized that we needed that space.
Okay.
Something gospel and whatever it is. So if there's somebody who has any idea, please. This one, even when the window closes, we can open the window and put it in.
Okay.
Right.
Wow. Fifi Coleman says, and please ask him if everyone whose event has been listed as one of the official events for December has received their letters to that effect or not. If not, who is the contact person?
I think everybody ought to have received an email by now. Those who applied for the first window, but the second window, we're here to evaluate. Like I indicated, it's ended on the 1st of September. By next week, that evaluation will be done. It's not just me. There's a panel chaired by. We have Professor Sutherland Daddy, Lawyer Boati. A few people sit down, they review. In some cases, they go back to the event organizer. You're going to have this event. There are people who come and list the place that they're going to have the event, and you ask them, do you have permission to do that? And the first thing is no. So how could you list it as an event? How can we put it on? Have you engaged with the assemblies? No. Have you engaged with the... in some cases, we have people who are saying they are doing something on the 24th at the Dome. And
Grand Arena.
The Grand Arena. And there are about 5 events happening there. So you realize that these guys, they just write something and bring it, expecting you to endorse. But we check, because we look at, what the events are happening on 24th. And you check all of the venue. Grand Arena. They haven't even gone to speak to Charterhouse. They just put it there and they expect you to endorse it. So we expect people to do a little bit of due diligence. We also do our due diligence, making sure that there is a meeting of minds, but we want more events. Talking of which, this year we've reached out to a lot of event organizers and radio stations and vendors in the regions. Apart from Western region, where we've had about 5 events happening, Putumanto, the West Side Carnival, Tardy Fest, and other things. The rest is one. But this year we've gone out of our way. For the first time, we've seen some massive submissions coming from the regions. Tamale is doing well. We have the Culture One Festival coming up. There have been a few events that have been listed. And so we will go out of our way to engage. There are sometimes too that we call people to say, look, we want to have your event as part of December Engage. I must be honest, because some of the event organizers, they don't have the time, or they don't see the need, because they think that if you are not giving them money. So we explain to them that, look, when we put this thing on the calendar, this is how far it will go. And in some cases, when push comes to shove, and when we have the resources, we can't support. We may be able to in a small way. 100 tickets maybe will help. It's not much, just a little support.
All right, elders, please. Martinez, let me start with you.
Andy, it's good September has been declared as tourism month, especially when the world celebrates tourism within that particular month. And so For me, I like that idea. And I believe that it's an opportunity as well to boost the local tourism. I agree with people who are saying we can do more, especially Rwanda becoming the standard, seeing Visit Rwanda on some of the football teams, jerseys, and all of that. It's beautiful. But I think if we cannot do that for now, or if we cannot get to that level, we can start small. At least we have influential people here. I also believe that we can give them that motivation for them to also promote some of our tourist sites. Because honestly, when I checked through the program lineup or the calendar, aside the events, I was also expecting to see dates and trips to certain tourist centers or tourist sites. But I didn't see any. All we saw was just the event. But then I believe that, like you are here, if you are assigned, or Kwame that is assigned, or myself, anybody here, or even some of the musicians, celebrities as well, and then the authorities team up with some travel agency and fix a date. Maybe this particular date, we are all going to probably the Kakum National Park, or maybe Ebri Botanical Garden, whatever. And we promote and project this particular trip. Definitely, we are going to have the local people come on board and then go have fun, learn more, get education, insights. And even when videos and photos are taken, put on the website of GTA, it's going to boost people for them to come down and also visit some of these places to boost our tourism, not only the events, the festivals taking place. So my little concern is that probably it might be late, but the next edition, there should be a way to get the bloggers on board, get the celebrities, get radio personalities, so that we can all have this trip in order to project the local tourism as well, boost it. And another concern, my last point is the fact that if we are projecting this, promoting it for people to come down and then have fun like the December in GH, I believe not everyone would like to go to some of these festivals. Some would love to be at the beaches. And so my question is, so far, what's the effort made to clean up the beaches as well? Because not long ago, we had a discussion whereby I think the CEO was called on phone, and during his conversation, he was clear that the beaches are not under their control. They have no control as to how to take care of it, or maybe ensure that safety, cleanliness, and all of that. I don't know how far effort has been made to make sure that if we are implementing this idea, then we should also look at it, because if people come and they are not happy, like the way we saw that video trending, it will still go against the GTA.
All right. Thank you very much. Ria, please.
Yeah, for me, I'm just happy that he's being honest about the budgeting situation when it comes to the tourism and creative art industry, because most of the times when we put across worry or something like that, we always get, oh, we are working on it. But I'm actually proud of what you've been able to achieve with the little that you have. But speaking of the of tourism again, I would like for a lot of attention to be drawn on some of the, I don't know whether to say forgotten or other tourist sites apart from the normal ones that we know, because for me, I like to travel around Ghana a lot, outside Ghana. I like to discover new places. And just recently, I was following a travel vlog, and then I realized that there's this waterfall close to Kumasi called Tini Falls. Okay. And when you get there, first of all, the road leading to the place is bad. Apart from that, it's more or less like there's no tourist guide over there. So when you go, you're on your own. Whether you're going the right way, whether the place is dangerous, whether there's someone in the forest, there's nobody there. You understand me? So I would like for some attention to be drawn on such places, so that if the people are being paid and they are not working. You move them from there, and then you put new set of people to guide people around there, because it's a very beautiful place. And even the entrance, looking there, the greenery over there and everything looked very, very nice. But unfortunately, no tourist guide, and there were people inside the forest lazily standing there. Nobody was directing anybody and stuff like that. So I feel like if there's some attention drawn to the place, and also when it comes to the art festivals like Chalewote, like this Chalewote Art Festival, which happened last month. I don't know if you were aware of it, or if maybe something was done with the collaboration of the ministry, but I didn't see, it wasn't as hyped as
This is
it used.
authority.
Oh yeah,
not the
sorry, the authority. Sorry, not the ministry. The authority. I don't know whether you worked hand in hand, because that's why I was a bit surprised about the Homo War question, because it looked like it was done with. In conjunction with the Homo War Festival, and I felt like it was something too that could draw people to Ghana, because artists from all over the world came, and you were talking about the observance of some of the traditional, things, or the culture, the exhibition, not just fun. And I felt like maybe the authority could have, partnered with them or something. Yeah.
Would you want to answer before Slim and them come in?
Well, maybe let's get all, and then I'll go through. Let them finish, and then I'll just.
Okay.
Because my own there be long small.
Make it shorten up for me.
Okay. First and foremost, I think the GTA has been one of the most performing bodies in the country, and everybody will attest to it. If not the best, sure the best be baby under the current government that we have. And if there is anybody, I keep telling my friends that if there is anybody that should be vying for the presidency in the country, it should be somebody from that sector, because they've done a yeoman's job. $2.5 billion, that is what we've been told was generated out of the recent.
That's some good money.
That's some good money. $2.5 billion. It's
no be small.
No be joke.
2.5 billion.
Yes.
Boss, you shouldn't be crying, no.
You shouldn't be crying. So first question, with the 2.5 billion being said, we're looking at marketing strategies to make sure it's either we maintain that same amount of money or we go up. That should be like the target of the authority. So I'm thinking, what are some of the marketing strategies that you put in place to attract more tourists, with respect to 2024, 2023, and 2024 calendar. Also, me wahasi ya me wama kumazo for unsa me PM dia wasa me kame me nuanu so yaba. Kumasi also seems to be suffering a lot when it comes to events that will put creatives on the map or on the stage. I went through some of the list that you have on the site, and I realized that I think there's only one event that popped up there. I'm sure probably maybe the second window might attract or get approval for other events, but we want to know, since you are not an event organizing body, and sometimes you even reach out, being proactive and all that, you reach out to other event organizers to let them come in or submit, or even tell them that, look, we are going to support your event. How many events have you captured in the Ashanti region that you deem or you seem that, these events are worth looking at? But I'll just end here. That's why very long.
Last one.
Kwame,
Yeah.
make I open give you.
Okay. My first question. So
First question or one?
in the
Two
event that Afro Nation does not submit their event for your calendar this year, would that be a breach of the MOU? Would that mean that they will not hold the concert again in Ghana? That's the first question. Question number 2. How deliberate are you in promoting domestic tourism? Because from all that Martinez and Ria said, it appears that we have very, very great tourist sites in this country. But even with our own people going to visit tourist sites in this country is a problem. People travel outside. And just recently I went to Singapore and I saw a created waterfall. Waterfall that has been created. We have how many waterfalls in this country? A lot. But they have created a waterfall because they don't have natural resources. And people travel from here to go see
an artificial waterfall. So how deliberate are you in encouraging people in Ghana to go to these places or tourist sites in this country, domestic tourism? Then I also would like to commend you for how diverse you've actually been in getting the events on the calendar, because I've seen theater and other sects of the industry on there. For example, I've seen Dilemma of a Ghost by Fifi Coleman featured on there. I think that is something that we should applaud you for and encourage you to do more, because event is not only about music. We need to get the diversity of it, fashion, painting, and everything. I think that's one thing that we should commend you for. Yeah.
Are we done? Okay.
This way? Oh, no, the camera.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable. In 2021, President Akufo-Addo, in October, made it known to Nana Otubo Jankwesi II, the chief of Ebri.
Please speak up.
The chief of Ebri, that they are going to redevelop the Ebri Botanical Gardens. That is when he whispered that. He spoke into the finance minister, and it will appear in the 2022 budget. Yes, in the 2022 budget, it came into the budget where it was stated that Ebri Botanical Gardens, the Yasantua Museum, the Piccolo, and other places were going to be redeveloped. And we were made to know that processes had started, and it's like work, they were hitting the ground running from 2022. Now here we are in 2023, it appeared. In the media budget, we saw it too. And it's like, it's the same thing from like the promise. And we are looking at increasing our arrivals in this country. I would want to know what kind of, where are we now? Because we need some of these things as experiential to be able to, help increase the arrival. You were talking about finance, and I think we need to take issues like this very seriously, because the way other people like Dubai, South Africa are tackling tourism, we do not need these promises pushing. It's like we are pushing it every year. We need to speedily work on some of these things. And what are we closed the chapter on ambassadors? What happened?
Okay.
Are we looking at bringing it back? Because we have a target to hit. Look at how South Africa tourism even engage media personalities, superstars from other places have been part. And when you go, you sign a contract that you are going to do this, and they even give you a hashtag. Can't we use our celebrities in a way that will be beneficial to us? So that is linked to the issue of the ambassadors. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. This is a full plate. And so,
You're about to answer some WASI exams.
I'm telling you. Session B. But I'll start with session A. I think, and I think they are all very useful questions and feedback that, we pick and then we work on. The beaches, I think, just to clarify, I didn't say we don't have anything to do with the beaches. I said that the beaches are not under our direct control. And so if you take the beach fronts that we have, over the weekend I visited a few beach fronts in Cape Coast, Elmina, and to a large extent they were neat, to a large extent. But if you come to, let's say, Accra, you go to Kokrobite, you come all the way to La, that is where we have a lot of issues. And it's because these beaches are under the control of one organization or the other. We have had engagements with them. We came up with a campaign with YEA in 2021 or so, called Clean Waves, Clean Beaches. Right. Why? Because we realized that if you go to La, for example, the guys, we went there with EPA, Ministry of Sanitation, to look at their hygiene and the things that they have bins all over. They have vehicles that take the rubbish away and other things. But then the following morning, whenever they come, when it rains especially, there will be a wash from eastward wash, and then the rubbish comes back to the shore. So it's not rubbish that is being generated at the beach per se. It's being washed from somewhere. So we realize that it has to do with attitudinal changes. People who are just dumping things into the sea. Because anything you throw into the sea, it's not going anywhere. It goes, rolls. It will not, if it doesn't come directly to your house, it will go to the next person. And that is what is happening. And so we have engaged. I will add that to the issue of the tourist sites. So that's why we came up with a new legislative instrument, 2393, to make sure that all these places can be regulated. In the past, we didn't have proper regulations for them. Now you need to get a license to be able to operate a tourist site. And so, for example, whether it's Tene Falls, whether it's Kintampo, whether it's Boti Falls, we are going around to now license them. And by licensing, we are looking at one, you need to have certain basic requirements. You need to have proper management in place. The law says that for every tourist site, you need to have the assembly involved, you need to have the traditional authority involved, and the tourism authority involved. So that is what we are doing with the LI 2393. Unfortunately, it was passed in 2020, just before COVID. And so when you pass a new law, you need to give people time to prepare before you start enforcement, because some of them, they don't have washrooms, but the requirement says that you need to have a washroom. Some of them don't have staff at all. Somebody sitting there, you need to recruit, they need to train. So we have started some aggressive stakeholder engagement with all the tourist sites, and we know that in due course we will be able to deal with it. But the beaches is something that we are taking on quite aggressively, making sure that we can clean up, especially Sakumono. We've identified about 5 beaches that are going to be under constant monitoring. But like I indicated, if you go to Busia, you go to other places, the beaches are clean. So it's not every beach in Ghana that is suffering from that. Now, the arts festival question, I mean, if you talk to the organizers of Chalewote, if we hadn't stepped in this year, it would not happen. Yeah, if it wouldn't have happened, because there were serious issues from moving the thing from Jamestown
to
the new area. You needed so many permissions. I mean, because that place is a security zone, and so I don't want to talk about that on air. You are there, you can speak to this thing. We provided even a lot of financial support to make sure that it took off. But given that there were some controversies around the movement, I mean, there was another festival also happening at Jamestown at the same time, the Wamba Arts Festival. So it became a little bit of an issue. So we've engaged with both the organizers of Wamba and the organizers of Chalewote. Let's sit down. Let's make sure that we are able to promote, because, like you said rightly, a lot of people come. We get the data. A lot of people come to Ghana because of this street art festival, and we shouldn't kill it on the expediency of anything. If there are disagreements, which there were with between the organizers and the community in Jamestown, let's find a way to deal with it. And we came in at the last minute to make sure that we salvage the situation. And I believe that if you look at the numbers that it generated, even though we didn't have the sort of prior promotion, thankfully multimedia came in at the last minute and at least gave it some push. We should be able to make things work. In terms of marketing strategies that we have deployed, I mean, we don't have a one-size-fits-all approach to the marketing that we do. I mean, if you, for a typical marketing student will go through all the P's. Now, I don't know how many P's you have, 7 P's or 8 P's. Because one, for example, what product are we selling out there? If you go to the US, because the Black American or African American travel segment is such a big one, we promote mostly heritage tourism. Come back to your motherland. The year of return, beyond the return. So we're trying to get people to come back and see where their ancestors came from. But you can't make that same conversation in Germany. You can't go and talk about return in Germany. You understand? Because that connection is not there. So there we start promoting adventure tourism. And that's where we did for Destination Ghana in Europe. So where we are saying Ghana is open and ready, we're showcasing more of the things that we have, the leisure facilities that we have, the leisure events that we are having, making sure that people come. And how do we package these things and promote them? I mean, if you look at our product itself, we've had to do a lot of product improvement. And so that takes me to the next issue of site improvement. If I list the number of sites that we have improved upon, I mean, starting from Kintampo, if you go to Bonsu, you go to the Kwame Nkrumah Park is there, the National Art Gallery, and the National Gallery itself, that had been closed for about 8 years, is now open. You go to Nzulezu, you go to Golu, you go to Gushegu. We're touching all these sites currently under construction. And Ebri, I don't think the issue that the president said has not been addressed. If you go to the site, we have 2 contractors on site. One doing the event grounds and then washrooms, and one doing the frontage and the car park. I think the car park has been done. The frontage bit, I'm not too sure whether it's complete, but work is ongoing. But with all these contracts, first, when the president says, do it, we can't do it the following day. We have to go through a process, procurement. And you know, in this country, if you don't cross your T's and dot your I's with procurement, you get in trouble. So you have to put this thing out there. People come in and then make sure that it's packaged properly. So work is ongoing. Even last week, I think the issue came up. When we had a presidential summit in Ebri, the Omahini came again to raise it that he's seen that contractors are dead, but the pace of work is slow. So we will get at it, because even with a little intervention, last year Breed Botanical Gardens was the #1 visited site in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it has the potential. There have been approaches from some private sector developers who want to partner. But you know, there's a PPP law that says that you have to go through Ministry of Finance. So we've engaged with Honorable Damboche, because they are the ministry that oversees Ebri Botanical Garden. It's under the Parks and Gardens, and Parks and Gardens is under the Ministry of Local Government. Right. So we are engaged. So the same thing, Yas and Tua Mausoleum and all those things, there are contractors there, but the pace of work, I must admit, has been slow, because once they do their work, they bring their certificate, we need to pay, and then they go back and start again. So we will get on it. In terms of domestic tourism, I mean, the data that we have shows that we've seen a lot of growth in that area. 2018, for example, I mean, I can talk about the base year of 2017 when we started. It was around 400 and something thousand. But let's take 2018 when we thought we had crossed 635,000 people visiting various tourist sites. Last year we did 937,000. So it's growing. How did we get this? We started with See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, Feel Ghana. And I think you were part of that. Those who came to the Castle Gardens, right, when we launched that campaign to make sure that we are driving people to See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana. I mean, I don't know the last time I wore anything that was not made in Ghana. You know, so it's a campaign that we are running. That let's wear our own, let's see our own, let's eat our own. Even in our hotels, if you go to Kempinski, Moving Peak, the big hotels, there's been a deliberate engagement with them. And now if you go there for lunch, you see that they have more local offerings. It's all part of the campaign, engaging with our stakeholders. And then we moved on from there with Experience Ghana, Share Ghana, which is currently running, where we say that if you go to any tourist site, share it on your platform, you stand a chance of winning something. And so the numbers have gone up. But I believe that what COVID taught us was that we cannot rely on international arrivals. And if we are not careful, he's right, Singapore is doing this thing. In Dubai, they've built a forest. You understand? So if we sit here and we talk about Kakpoom and we don't add on to the product, we don't add to the experience for people, they will do the canopy walkway. They say it's easy. They have built a whole forest. Now they are importing tigers and things into there. So if you are sitting in Kenya and you are talking of your safari, very soon it will be there. And now Saudi is coming. Saudi Arabia says their target is to overtake Dubai. They ain't Ghana. They say, so we have to be careful and deliberate with what we have.
I want us to look at the Kumasi bit so we can wrap up, because we've exceeded our time so much.
Kumasi, there is an issue. I think We need to we need to Person need to be Kumasi voice. We all need to be deliberate in trying and bring well same way the person. Okay, and they say no person before. But I think that the Kumasi thing we need to be deliberate. The last time I was talking to Lavin C and Kuda, look, we don't see the events that you guys do. That we need it, and we need. I mean, currently we just have to go back to the drawing board and engage more. We have the Akwasi there, Kessie in December that is listed. There's a creative arts festival. Some guys do very very wonderful. They do it at the Ratri Park. This week I'm in Kumasi, so I think I'll reach out to some of the organizers that look. We need more of Kumasi on the calendar because. When people come in December, I know areas that they visit, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and so we need to really push.
All right, it's been a very interesting engagement with you. I hope we do it again. But how to get you?
Oh no! Say you.
I think next time we have to come and drag you.
No. You see, you called me that you talked to me at 8, so I thought it was
on the phone.
Okay. I would have come here 7 o'clock for my coffee, but
okay. Hey, you be requesting for coffee. Coffee now, Joe.
So sorry for being late, but I think it's also been worth it. I want to thank all of your panelists. I mean, ambassadors not 70 days.
Add them.
But I think on a case by case basis. Currently, for example, we are working with Akrobeto. He's doing some work for us. I don't know whether you've seen. Last time he was with us in. So we will do it on a case by case basis. We don't want a situation because the last time people didn't understand. When we say people are ambassadors, they expect that you are tourism ambassador. So check come out. We said come with a concept that can help us drive growth in the tourism industry.
Ochami Kwame is your buyer, yes, not.
Well, no, Ochami Kwame will not complain. So, hopefully, so it's I think so. People from Naoka, Ochami Kwame, if there's an ambassador we have worked on with no, crowd, you crowd the chain. On the chain, Ochami there, any be a trim. It's catch us off from swap our body.
Right. Thank you very much for coming, sir. I hope we do this again. But tomorrow we'll come and digest it properly. Yeah. Tomorrow we will. We will dissect. We will dissect and digest and
expect a phone in segment.
And you call it
September tourism month, so we hear some grease kaka. Okay. People don't even know that it started from 2019. You know, people think it's just started. So I think there need to be more grease.
They have to work with Hitz FM. Charlie Hitz, make more noise. Well, that's why we're here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming, sir. Listeners.